other, so you need to take them both out at the same time. However, they have different total hit points. And this was done so you can't just balance the damage against each arm. You need to do slightly more to one of them. But eventually you'll take both arms out and be able to destroy the central body. And then we find that was another shell, and inside is the creature itself. This is Lavos. No, not the middle thing. That thing on the right. That tiny floating organic blob. That is the creature. And as we fight, the mental aura of anguish floods into your team, and you realize the horrible truth. Lavos absorbs organic matter as energy and has been guiding the planet simply to produce food for itself. Reptites, humans, Zeal, the kingdom of Guardia. Lavos needs a variety of DNA to survive, so its entire existence has been about cultivating this planet as a varied, balanced meal. The fight against Lavos is visually gorgeous, it's stunningly well scored and mechanically varied. The trippy pattern behind you will fade in and out of all the time periods you've visited before, and Lavos' attack patterns will change based on where in time you are. The left floating bit always heals the other two, so take that out first, and the central body retaliates and is only there to trick you into attacking it. But the right bit, the essence of Lavos itself, is resistant to almost everything, so this is a long fight. Lavos throws the most powerful attacks at you, including the Grand Stone attack, which creates this almost 3D illusion of a boulder being dropped on the party. Great use of blending there. And after a grueling 35-minute fight against so many forms and so many attacks, almost dying so many times, and after doing 30,000 damage to the right bit, Lavos finally dies. And that leads to Chrono waking up in bed and being summoned by the King of Guardia, back in his own time. And then you discover that Luca has invited all the major players from every time period to come and celebrate the future being saved at the Millennial Fair. The Moonlight Parade is finally held in Lean Square, complete with dancing.
Wait. We were told that if more than 3 people went through a time portal, that they would go to the end of time because time couldn't stand that. And you invited everyone from every time to a party?
And peace between the humans and the mystics, and then we get a tearful farewell as everyone returns through the portal to their own time. The princess even kisses the frog. But just before the portal closes, Chrono's cat
She has them come through one at a time. Oh my gosh.
jumps in, followed by his mum. Well, that explains how the cat keeps showing up everywhere, but we might need to go through and save his mum next. Thankfully, we have a fully working Epoch time machine as we didn't crash it into Lavos, so we set off. And then we see the glint of the Epoch in every time period, with everyone remembering us. And with Lavos defeated and everyone's story finished, we have finally finished Chrono Trigger. You can now restart with New Game Plus. You keep all your levels and stats, and you can try for one of the other 14 endings. Total gameplay time, about 20 hours for the complete main ending and all side quests, but the final question remains. Was it actually any good? The truth is that Chrono Trigger isn't perfect, but critiquing Chrono Trigger reminds me of a situation I lived through many years ago. I used to work in retail, and one day the area manager came down to inspect our store. They spent hours looking around and checking everything, but we were thorough. We kept a tidy and well-organized shop. When the report came back, there was one issue. No paper towels in the paper towel dispenser. Now, the paper towel dispenser was in the staff room on the wall unused. It was not in the bathroom. It was used as a coat rack. There wasn't even a sink in the room it was in. So I questioned my manager, why on earth is this an issue when it's not relevant at all? And he explained to me, it's not an issue. But the inspection had to find something no matter how minor. The fact that this was all they could find was a brilliant sign. So while critiquing Chrono Trigger, I had to find faults. That's the purpose of this playthrough. And 20 hours through, I found about 4. Left to right screen direction not being respected when you enter the bike race against Johnny. Sometimes NPCs walk over your character sprite and prevent you from moving until they walk off. The one-frame active battle issue between selecting attack and it happening, sometimes meaning enemies move out of range or areas, and Marl's final weapon being given from Frog's area side quest. 4 flaws, minor flaws, in a 20-hour, 14-ending RPG.
Oh man. Oh man. All right, so I mean, I had a very different experience than Josh did. Like, saying that the game, you don't have to grind XP, that no matter where you go, you're going to be balanced for it. But then he showed when he was fighting the queen, he was doing like 3,000 damage a swing. I was doing like 300, 1,000 if I used mana for like a huge spell. So he very much, you know, did. And like all that side stuff, dude, Josh is a gamer. I don't believe he found every single one of those on his own. Definitely think he used a Nintendo Power magazine and found that side stuff, which allowed him to be the right level when he got to the queen. As far as like finding some of it, like, you know, have to get hit in the head by a bird 40 times so you get the golden rock. There's no way. There's no way he just found that. There's no way. So there's so much side stuff that you would need to like look up. The combat. Now this, you could say that this is based on the individual, right? Maybe he loved the combat. I found it incredibly frustrating. There's so many times that it was just like, it's like it's my turn, but in the time it took me to move the arrow down and select technique, the boss would take a turn and cut in line. So if I'm on auto, Ayla would go 3 turns for everyone else's 1, but if I'm on manual, way less. So you would lose so many turns because of the system. Resume, not loading your most recent save. Wait, not actually waiting. Like I had way more issues than Josh saw.
Is insanely good quality. As for the strengths, Chrono Trigger is a time-traveling adventure from humble beginnings to epic conclusion, featuring a cast of characters with history and future, flaws and redemptions all. Every character's story is woven through the fabric of time, and completing their stories is a satisfying journey. The main characters are without a doubt Magus and the Frog, and the brilliance is while they're understandably enemies, they're both heroes in their own story. Every character is flawed, but the flaw itself is both born from how they have been brought up and what they've gone through, and then fixed by who that situation has made them become, giving every member of the team a distinct feel and a wonderfully satisfying conclusion. Graphically, it's aged like fine wine because sprites are timeless and style lasts longer than high-quality graphics. The strength of the writing shines, as while having genuinely emotional moments, the serious moments are balanced with enough humor to humanize both the characters and the world. There's storytelling in the text, the environment, the combat, and the music. The battle system is deep without being complex, and mob fights are frequent but quick, and each boss has a unique mechanic to keep it interesting. Longer fights are never too dull, as each move does matter and wrong choices are punished, but never to an unfair degree. The freedom to take on Lavos roughly 10% into the game is a brave decision, which was way ahead of its time, and we're still praising games which do this today. And the fantastic pacing means the adventure is always moving forward and never hits a grind wall or an I don't know what to do moment. And all of this.
Oh, hold on a sec. I was reading that. Robo was born in a bleak future. When we defeated Lavos, we changed history.
Fantastic pacing means the
Robo may not exist in the future.
adventure is always moving forward and never hits a grind wall.
Please relax, the new future has a place for me.
Or an I don't know what to do moment. And all of this is set to a wonderful score, which I've been listening to for days while writing this video, and I'm still not bored of. Chrono Trigger is an excellent example of a game being greater than the sum of its parts, while at the same time each of those individual parts is almost flawless. Chrono Trigger is a 20-hour slice of RPG brilliance. It set the bar for what RPGs could do in 20 hours, and still now, 28 years later, remains the measure of what a short to mid-length game can achieve. The few flaws I could find don't take away from the overall experience and shouldn't stop anyone from trying it. So yes, Chrono Trigger was good. It was great. It set the bar so high, it is still up there as a game worth replaying and judging modern RPGs by. So to end the review, it's only fair to award Chrono Trigger the highest award possible. Frog. Out of 10. Cheers for watching.
All right, what were some of the responses? One incredible detail about Luca's side quest, the campfire conversation heavily suggests that time gates are created by the planet. The implication is really touching when you think about it. The red gate is literally Earth itself intervening to give this girl a chance to avert a traumatic event and save a loved one. I like to think that explains the exceptional color. It's an impossibly vast consciousness turning to one of the creatures that's fighting to save it and saying, "This is for you." That's cute. Never realized the horror Luca must have felt over what happened at the beginning of the game, given the context of her side quest. Oh, because she saw her mother get mangled by a machine, and then the teleporter ate Marl. Let's see. Let's see, one of my favorite details from the game is how the gurus are all twisted and lost what they were due to Lavos' influence. Melchior, the guru of life, ended up making and selling weapons. Balthazar, the guru of reason, slowly loses his sanity. Gaspar, the guru of time, ends up at the end of time. I think Marley getting her weapon from Cyrus made sense. He was the protector of Queen Lean, and Marl is her descendant. It also respects Marl's character by giving her a weapon so she could protect herself as the independent and adventurous spirit she is. Interesting. So yeah, everyone down there really liked it. Let's see. Did Mug not like the game? No, Virtue. I played 16 hours of it, and the point that we were in the game in that video was 2 hours and 4 minutes. I think we were here. We were on this fight. There was that much remaining. However, yeah. Just to recap it again. The way the combat system works is you cannot start selecting what you're going to do until your bar is full. Then the menu appears, and you can hit like, okay, I want to do technique, and then the boss goes. Basically, anytime you're not into a sub-menu, the boss goes every X amount of seconds. Which means if you have it on auto, you might go 3 times for every 1 time the boss goes. But if you're doing it on manual, you might go 1 to 2 times for every 1 time the boss goes. So the boss essentially like cuts in line a lot because the way the combat system is. It's like if you took turn-based in real-time fighting and you try to make something the worst of both worlds. So really hated the combat system, and it became more troublesome the further you went. There were other issues. The speed up game speed button was the exact same as the auto combat button. In the first part of the game, when you selected, like, I want you to hit this guy in the left arm, it kept doing that. But in the later parts of the game, it would forget that every single round of combat, and you would have to reselect your target every single round of combat. When you hit resume, it did not load your last save. It loaded their last auto save, which might have been 3 saves ago. When you use the wait function, it didn't actually seem to have any impact on the game. It didn't wait. The storytelling was fine, barring a few rare moments. But yeah, the storytelling was fine. I don't really have any beef with that. The graphics were good. The sound was fine. But yeah, the combat. Oh, also, anytime I died on this fight right here, because like some of it was just like, okay, you hit this hand, she counters and kills you, and I'm like, okay, reload. 20 minutes in the back passed. And you couldn't save between that. So I redid the fight before this one 3 or 4 times to get more attempts on this fight. The wait function does wait, but only when you're selecting attack or item, which is not good enough. When it's your turn and you're frantically trying to tell your guy to cast heal, and then the boss cuts in line and kills you because you couldn't navigate to that menu in time, it's not good enough. Thank you, Dussel. Dussel. Yeah, the wait, only waiting in certain menus is not adequate. Let's see. The wait mode works when you're in submenus in combat. When you're in the tech item menu, the combat will stop, but while in the surface menu, the combat runs normal. Exactly. So it's like, okay, we're all low health. The next time it's the frog's turn, I need to go down to technique and hit heal. And then it's the frog's turn, and I'm like, technique, and then she hits us and we die. That happens so many times. It happens so many times where, because basically every time you navigate on that menu, the boss is getting like a fraction of another turn. And that adds up. That adds up really, really fast. It just every time you're doing anything other than auto, the boss is getting a fraction of an additional turn when you're navigating through any menus. Is there maybe a problem with the weight combat system in this fancy animated version? Because I played SNES, I've had any problems with it. I'm not sure. Maybe it was worse on Steam. I don't know. A question: do you think if you knew anything from that video, you could have a different opinion or continue playing? No. No, I wanted to like it because there was so many passionate members of our community that wanted me to play it, and they want to see me have a good experience with it. But no. Again, story was pretty cool. I understand why it was a GOAT of its time period. But playing this now and the experience I had, not only do I not have the desire to reinstall it and play it again, I do not wish to, I want to memorize the name of this combat system and avoid every other game that has it. That was incredibly frustrating. Like, so irritating. Just be like, oh, they cut in line again. Oh, they cut in line again. Oh, I'm dead because they cut in line again. Got to play another 20 minutes to get back to where we were. The ATB. Yeah, couldn't. So it's like, if you're going to have a combat system that frustrating, I need to be able to reload back to 5 seconds ago. And I don't. So it had a archaic save system combined with frustrating combat, which made you have to just replay really big chunks a lot. Understandable, but a bummer you got frustrated. Yeah, and I wish I had it. I wish I had been able to show you guys me having an absolute blast at this, but sadly I just wasn't able to. To be fair, other ATV games will actually wait because they don't have double and triple text. Especially with games like Octopath Out and Event. Well, if it uses wait all the time, isn't that just simply turn-based at that point? And not ATB? Especially with games like Octopath Out and Available, why play this? You know what? Hey, I'll say something nice about it. You know what's... I really enjoyed Octopath Traveler 2. Octopath Traveler 2, I was frustrated near the end of the game. There was a boss fight that required you to have all 8 people leveled up. I had been leveling like 5 of them. I had to off-stream grind XP for hours to level up the other people. In this game, it was quite nice that I never had to grind XP for the people I didn't have in my party on a regular basis. That's something nice I have to say about it. It was kind of like in Pokemon, after you get XP share, and the guys that are in your group are all getting XP. It was like that, but all the time. That was great. I did like that. Unfortunately, there was just, yeah, I would say Octopath as a whole was far less frustrating than this. Modern ATB is just turn-based, but with the twist that speed it can have you take more frequent turns and laps sometimes. Like it did in V2 Better Port, I guess the 3 Final Fantasy. With mods, you can save state it. Well, I mean, with mods, you could probably give the robot boobs, but I mean... Come on. With mods, you can do anything. The world is your oyster with mods. I mean, it just, you got so many options there. Maybe I'll go like Chrono Cross better. I don't know anything. Other than you guys telling me that Chrono Cross is the sequel to Chrono Trigger, I don't know anything about it. Also, the Chrono Trigger being an egg. That was surprising as well. Better chat, slower game speed, and more side quests would have helped. A lot of combats are brutal when you don't do at least some of the side content. Yeah, again, that goes back to so many people being like, you never have to grind XP in this game. You're always the right level. Until I got to the second half of the game, Muck, you skipped too much side stuff. You're the wrong level. You need to go grind. It's like, boy, they sure turned around fast. They changed their tune real quick as soon as things started getting tough. Oh no, Muck, you need to leave this ship and go grind. Better check. Yeah, no, I was trying to grade the game just upon the game itself. I did mention more than once that I have never, I think in 7 years of streaming, had this many spoilers thrown at me while playing a title. And we're averaging, 80 to 100 games a year right now. So that was incredible. But I was not bringing that up while we were talking about the game itself because I was trying to just, grade the game for what it was. Until you skipped the end story and went to the final dungeon. But Thistle, I didn't know that. We got the ship, and it was like, we got to find the bad guys. And I flew around for 2 seconds and ran into it. And I'm like, this looks like it's possibly that. And I go in there, and there's the bad guys. And I'm like, oh, this is it. I found them. All right, easy. I had no way of knowing that I had skipped a ton of stuff there. I mean, there's no quest log in the game. There's no map markers. I just stumbled into it, and it seemed logical. Giant evil spaceship. Maybe that's them. Maybe that's the thing. It seemed very logical that felt like where I was supposed to go. You don't need to grind, but you shouldn't skip the side content. Well, the only side content I missed was the side stories. However, the side stories was like, what was it? It was like, go farm feathers and fangs in the dinosaur period, buy ruby armor, go to the future, go to the secret cave, don the ruby armor, fight a sun, and then the sun turns into a moonstone. Then go back to the past, put the moonstone down in a cave, go to the future, go to get the moonstone, but it's been stolen by a guy who is Scrooge McDuck. Go to the past and give his mom some $9,000 bacon so that she teaches her kids how to be good freaking people. Then go back to the future and the innkeep gives you back the moonstone. Then go to the end of time and get an egg or something and take the moonstone and the egg. I don't remember how those mix. And you somehow... Oh, and then you got to go to the fair, and you got to win a bunch of games at the fair, and then you use that to buy a clone of Chrono, and clone lives don't matter because we're going to kill him. And then you take the egg and the moonstone and Chrono, and you go to the future where he was supposed to die from Lavos, and you swap out the clone with him, and then you come back to the present, and then you can use Chrono, and it's just like, what? Okay, so there's no way I would have figured any of that out. There is no way I would have figured any of that crap out. I would say some of those side contents, there were bits and pieces I figured out. Like when they mentioned it takes thousands of years for the moonstone to form, I was like, oh, I just got to take a stone to the past, go to the future, pick it up. Like, boom, I figured that out, but I didn't know where that fit in the story. We never got to that part. So you're saying I skipped so much side stuff. The side stuff I skipped was this insanely convoluted. I don't think I would have figured it out. I think even if I did 3 more playthroughs of this game, I would have never figured out how to save Chrono. I would have never figured out how to, what was the other thing? Get the special thing for the frog that involved you having to stand on the cliff and let the bird throw rocks at you 14 times so you get a golden rock stone to the head. Like some of that stuff is just like not in a dozen playthroughs would I have ever figured out that was side content. Robot beating up his girlfriend. Yeah, Robot just beating his wife, whatever that was. That was another thing. But can you explain the entire lore like this? The entire lore like this. It's basically, okay. You ever seen the version of Transformers where Unicron is at the center of the planet? This is that, except it's Lavos. That's it. And then Lavos is waking up, and we got to beat him up so he doesn't destroy the planet. You didn't even get to Gaspar after Mega suggested talking to him before the Black Omen appeared, and you were just like, oh, whoa, what's this? I didn't get to Gaspar. Mega suggested talking to him. I don't even remember that. So it's possible that I might have missed that line of dialogue. It's not nearly as convoluted as trying to get Regis in Pokemon Gen 3. Well, I mean, Pokemon game, typically, if you want information on Pokemon, you just Google that. Is 1995 getting lost as a feature? Oh yeah, no, I have a lot of like magazines like Nintendo Power and stuff like that from that time period. I just have it as like, memories. So I mean, yeah, very much games of that period, people would have to look up, what was going on. The golden rock stone a bird throws at you isn't even good. It's just a hidden secret that's especially bizarre. I always thought it was a joke the developers intended. Muck, you might need something straightforward after this. Might I suggest Spider-Man? Anyway, that is our playthrough of Chrono Trigger, along with watching Josh Strife Hayes' video on it. Was it good, Chrono Trigger? Very cool watch. Got to see the stuff that I missed. Definitely disagree with him on some stuff, but I've already said what that stuff was. Definitely avoiding anything ATB in the future. I have tasted it and I did not like the flavor. But again, story was fine. The time travel stuff, that was great. But definitely the combat system combined with the save system, combined with the weight system was so bad. It offset everything else for me. Yeah. That's it. Hopefully you guys got a couple smiles on the way, but that's where I'm going to hang up Chrono Trigger for now, and we're off to the next game.